Through dialogue, Islam in the West and its respective leaders can dispel the current climate of anger, check extremist trends, and lay the foundations for a more comprehensive and lasting peace through mutually beneficial interaction. Our organization wants to play its role in facilitating these encounters.
The discussion of the role of Islam in Europe and the dialogue between Islam, Christianity, the Jewish religion is, from my point of view, one of the most important tasks we have to cope with, and it is for the development of Europe important, but also for the whole world. As I'm a liberal politician, I believe in the values of the center and the values of personal freedom. The political center always manages to keep the exact same distance between the two existing political poles. Europe and its Muslim minorities have been drifting apart increasingly. It is the responsibility of European politicians like ourselves and of Muslim leaders like many of you to find the center again.
I would like to present to you an initiative from the side of the German federal government that has already existed for some years and has thus had the time to prove its value. I speak of the German Islam Conference. The dialogue was to improve the integration of the Muslim population and to ensure the peaceful coexistence of all religious groups in our country. The conference was composed of a core group of 30 members, 15 for the government, 15 for the Muslim population. On the government side, representatives of the federal state, the Länder, and the communities were present. On the Muslim side, the 5 important Muslim organizations in Germany were represented. Since only about 20% of the Muslim population is organized by the 5 official Muslim organizations, 10 independent personalities had been invited to participate as well. This group of 30 meets once per year in a conference with 3 working groups and 1 discussion circle to address various subjects. The results of their work, recommendations and reports make a promising reading.
والمواطن له حقوق وعليه واجبات ولذلك ندعو كأئمة للمسلمين إلى أن يتفاعلوا مع حقوق وواجبات المجتمع.
And the Muslim citizen in Europe has its own obligation as it has its own rights, and we as imams of the Muslims are advising the Muslims in Europe to do this, to have their own obligations and their own rights.
ونؤكد على أن مظاهر العنف أو الإرهاب لا يمكن أن ترتبط بدين البتة ومنها الإسلام أيضا.
And we affirm that violence and terrorism cannot be related to any religion, of course, and of course the Islam.
بل نسعى في مراكزنا ومساجدنا لإحلال الأمن والأمان ونبذ كل مظاهر العنف والإرهاب.
We are working in our mosques and in our centers to encourage the people to live in peace with everybody in the society.
It is true that the belief in the Almighty God plays a leading role in the daily lives of Indonesians, and that constitutes as the first pillar of the 5 guiding principles Pancasila as enshrined in the preamble of the constitutions. Pancasila actually is a national consensus and a common platform for all religious groups to meet and to discuss the future of Indonesia. Within the framework of Pancasila, a person believes in the truth of his religion and at the same time respect the followers and the doctrine of other religions. And in the Indonesian constitutions stipulates that every citizen is given the freedom to choose and practice his or her faith, and that the state guarantees this freedom.
There is some anecdotic evidence that suggests that intensifying contacts between different cultural groups tend to deepen political instability and violent conflict. Obviously, this holds particularly true for our globalizing world. However, the debate on culture, religion, and conflict suffers from a limited availability and low quality of empirical data on the one hand, and it also suffers from a confusion between culture as issue on the one hand and culture as cause of conflict on the other hand. Our study on culture and conflict in a global perspective tries to address three specific questions. What are cultural conflicts? What is the relationship between culture and conflict? Second, how important is culture and conflict for the global conflict theater? And third, which factors account for cultural conflict? Are cultural factors a source of conflict?
The International Council for Inter-Religious Cooperation is organizing these meetings, or meetings as this, in India, Europe, the Middle East, and at the United Nations. We want to contribute to mutual understanding between religions, our first goal. Today, we contribute to better understanding between the Islam and the West. It is not only sharing and gathering information that is our goal. For a better understanding, we need to get acquainted as persons. We are gathering because we are interested in this team, and we are taking some actions to do something.